Everyone who took up their desk, don't worry. Ito po ay
Not reported.
Walang gumagawa.
it's a very important job. Makakabawi pa po kayo. Okay. So reminder, so pag sinabi kong di wala bar quiz, siguro mas maganda next time, I will give you point on your student.
Yes. That's it.
Points of review!
Kita ba sa problem?
Points of review!
Dapat may points of review.
Oo, mas maganda yun.
Maganda yun, hindi yung
Now let's start. The
nangangapak
Greek
kami.
word for the day is Pasco.
Pasko!
Pasko.
Which means passion and intense enthusiasm. That's our Greek word for today. Now, today we'll talk about the Gospel of Mark. So, what does the Gospel of Mark teach us? Okay, this is our third session of the Gospel of Mark. Now, if you have your handouts with you, so meron ko yung handouts, no? We'll be discussing it in the next few minutes. Now, the issue about Markan authority and Markan priority here, the Gospel of Mark is actually prioritized during these days. Actually prioritized yung kanilang prioritize yung Gospel of Matthew, Mark. These numbers indicate the verses in each proposed source. So, ito yung mga numbers nila, yung sources. Dito rin po sa Luke. Okay? So, most of the writings here are reference to the book of Mark. So, malaki po ang influence ng Mark sa other two Gospels. So, sa Matthew, 333 verses ang makikita sa Gospel of Mark, while ang Gospel of Luke po ay kumuha ng around 564 verses sa Gospel of Mark. Ito po ang makikita po natin sa ating diagram. And the reason why ginawa po natin itong, and according to other scholars, yung Q Gospel ay may influence rin daw sa Gospel of Mark. So yun yung pinaka-diagram na
You got support.
the Q Gospel, the 12.
Well,
Maganda ng boss ko dito Maganda yung throw ng bosses. Okay. So, in a more deeper sense, marami po silang influences. Dito po sa John, sa Matthew, may influensya sa ni Mark. So, most of them have their influences. So, pansinin nyo yung Mark, influensya nito, yung Matthew, influensya nito, while the Gospel of John is 92% unique. Napaka-unique ng Gospel of John. Wala siyang masyadong reference sa ibang mga sources. While Mark is 7% unique sa mga other Gospels. So makikita natin, isa sa mga magandang sources to read is the Gospel of Mark. For you, para sa mga first-timers, advise nyo sila. Yung iba, ina-advise yung John. Yung iba, ina-advise nila yung Gospel of Mark para maintindihan yung Gospel, yung salvation nila. Here are reasons why Mark is seen as the first. Okay? Una, the details in the Gospel of Mark are most vivid. Napakalinaw, napaka-clear. At yung kanyang pagkasulat sa Gospel na ito yung hindi, alam mo yun, yung it's dynamic. Kumbaga, wala nang edit.
We'll send in our group.
Yes po. I will be sending it mamaya after our discussion. So, the grammar and style are roughest. Wala nang handout po natin.
sa ano?
So, kumbaga, hindi siya, it's informal. Hindi naman niya. So, kung ano yung nakita niya, yun yung nilagay niya. Okay. Merong mga details dito na mga embarrassing. Merong si Jesus, meron siyang mga ginawang mga kakaibang bagay dito sa Gospel of Mark. While the Gospel of Mark is the shortest Gospel, at konti lamang ang material na makikita dito na wala sa Matthew.
Matthew and Luke.
It's 7% lang. So, imagine po yan. But the order of the Gospel of Mark is the same in the Gospel of Matthew and Luke. When Jesus was born, he did miracles, he was crucified. So, same order, same textual order. Also, sa original writing of the Gospel of Mark, it was napakalakas po or napakadami pong indications ng Aramaic words like tetelestai or other words na ginamit po ng author dito. Also, Mark omits all materials common to the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. And makikita natin yung consistency ng theology nila. They have a perfect, consistent teaching of the Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. So that's why they're called the Synoptic Gospel. Okay? So that's just an overview of the Gospel of Mark. Now, who is the author of the Gospel of Mark? The second Gospel is technically anonymous. It's technically. Okay? When we say technically, hindi siya nagpakilala na siya ay si Mark. It's technically anonymous. While sa ibang teachings ng mga scribes, mga biblical scholars, dinagdag nila yung word na kata markon, which means according to Mark. That's Greek word kata, according to Mark. It was added later by a scribe, but it is significant in that it shows the view of the early church. So dito makikita natin may early influence ang si Mark. Kung baga sinasabi na si Mark ang gumawa. Mga references sa Gospel of Mark, una ay yung isang church father, si Papias. Si Papias, ito sinabi niya, the elder said this, Mark, who became Peter's interpreter, wrote accurately, though not in order, all that he remembered. Okay? Si Mark. Lahat ng mga naalala niya ay sinulat niya. Yan ang sinabi ni Papias. Okay? So, I will just to summarize kasi baka tatagalan po tayo dito. Just read the full description question. We have that. Okay lang po pa. I'm sorry. Sorry. Kasi wala pong hand, wala pong clicker. Pangalawa, si Irenaeus. Irenaeus is also a church father. Irenaeus published, Matthew published among the Hebrews a written gospel to their old God, while Peter and Paul were preaching in Rome. Okay? Mark, the disciple and interpreter of Peter, himself handed down to us. Personally, binigay ni Mark yung writing kay Irenaeus, which were preached by Peter. And Luke also, who was a follower of Paul, put down in a book the gospel, which was preached by him. So kasama na si Mark pala na nagsusulat ng Gospel of Mark kasama ni Pablo. So meron silang close connection. That's why si Paul pala, ang dami niyong alam tungkol kay Jesus. Kasi kasama niya si Mark. Pero makikita natin mamaya, ano ba ang kulay ng story ito? Makulay po ang story ito. While si Origen, sabi niya, among the four Gospels, which are only indisputable ones in the Church of God under heaven, I have learned, sabi niya, by tradition, that the first was written by Matthew, who was once a publican, but afterwards an apostle of Jesus Christ, and was prepared for the converts from Judaism. So, ang ginagamit nito, sa tradition, si Matthew ang nagsulat nun, ng first gospel, okay? Which is the Gospel of Matthew. So, given, sabi niya, ang nagsulat ng second gospel, si Mark. That's according to his tradition. According to the early traditions. Number 4 is Clement of Alexandria.
Matthew, second gospel.
Okay?
Clement.
Sabi po niya, Peter, having publicly preached the word at Rome and spoken forth the gospel by the Spirit, many of those present exhorted Mark. So ang ginamit po nila ay yung Gospel of Mark. As having been a follower of his, and remembering what he has said, to write what has been spoken, and that having prepared the Gospel, he delivered it to those who had asked him for it, which, when Peter came to acknowledge of, he neither decidedly forbid nor encouraged it. So hindi daw pinigilan ni Pedro ang pagkakasulat dito. So, yan yung mga church father evidences, influences. Oh, thank you, Lord. Sorry, I forgot my keyboard. Thank you, Lord. So, para makapagdaan ko. Thank you, Lord, today. Comfortable ako. Okay. I hope it works. Okay, thank you. Now, internal evidence. How can we be sure internally that it was written by Mark himself? The author was familiar with the geography of Palestine and Jerusalem. Possibly. And one of the traits of Mark was that he was also familiar with the geography of his land. Nakatun siya. Pangalawa, the author knew Aramaic and used Latin expressions as well. Alam niya ang Aramaic at ginamit niya ang Latin expressions. The author also understood Jewish customs, so he is a Jew. Nasa handout po yan natin.
Yes.
And the gospel has a special tie to Peter. So may close connection with Peter as Mark did. And there was a special emphasis to Peter in Mark 16:7. At meron silang similarity sa sermon ni Peter sa Acts chapter 10 verse 34 to 43. So yan yung mga internal evidences. Kanina, externally, the church fathers declared that Mark is the author. Internally, makikita natin, it is consistent that it was Mark. But his real name is not just Mark. His real name is John Mark.
Oh,
Yes.
Sikat yung John talaga, kaya yan. John Paul. Okay. Why John Mark? His Jewish name is John. And his Roman name was Mark. Okay? He is the son of Mary. Hindi si Mary the mother of Jesus, who owned the home where some believers met to pray for Peter's release. Dito yan sa Acts 12 verse 12. So may connection siya kay Peter and kay Paul. Mary's home is traditionally where the Last Supper was held. Traditionally, okay? Her home is also the probable place where the disciples met after the resurrection. Kung saan sila nagmukmuk, nagtago. Doon din sa bahay ni Mark. So that's, nakikita niyo na ngayon yung mga connections po nila. And before the Pentecost. So a lot of the miracles, a lot of the influences, or the important happenings in the church started in the house of Mark.
Yes.
So laking influence din ni Mark. John Mark is the cousin of Barnabas. Remember in the book of Acts, kasama ni Paul si Barnabas at kasama nila si Mark. Mamaya makikita natin yan. Now, ito sa Colossians 4 verse 10, this sinabi ni Pablo, Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, sends you his greetings, and also Barnabas, cousin, Mark, whom you received instructions. If he comes to you, welcome him. Now, saan galing si Mark dito? Kasama niya si Paul. At ano nangyari? Di ba nagkaroon ng problema si Paul kay Mark?
Yes.
Sabi ni ni Paul kay Mark, matigas ang ulo ni Mark. Hindi ko alam, bata pa po siya noon. So, pero makikita natin mamaya. May connection si Mark sa mga apostles and the disciples. Perhaps, Mark is the spiritual son of Peter. Disciple ni Pedro si Mark. In 1 Peter 5 verse 13, sabi doon, "She who is in Babylon, chosen together with you, sends you greetings, and so does my son, Mark." His spiritual son is Mark. So, nakikita niyo yung a bigger picture, no? Dati, sino ba si Mark, no? Ngayon po makikita na natin kung ano talaga ang kanyang lifestyle.
Spiritual son.
Spiritual son. Mark accompanied Paul and Barnabas on their first missionary journey as their helper. But he abandoned Paul and Barnabas. In Acts chapter 13, iniwan niya. Nagkaroon ng problema. Pati pala nung unang panahon, pati pala sa panahon ni Paul, may mga umiwan ng mga disciples na dingo. Hanggang ngayon, meron tayong mga disciples na ganyan. Iniiwanan tayo. Ilang taon natin kasama sa church, sa bilingkod. Tapos in the next few days, nasa victory naman. It's still happening today.
That's right.
O kaya sa Santa Lucia, nasa H o C. Alam po natin yan, mga kapatid. It's happening, it's normal, it's happening today. It's still happening before. So wag po tayong magtaka, meron talaga mga ganyan mga disciples. Pero mahalin po natin sila. Why? Tignan po natin, balik natin. His commitment of Barnabas to his discipleship led to a separation between Barnabas and Paul. Nagkahiwalay dahil umalas si Mark kay Barnabas at kay Paul, natilitan si Barnabas na iwanan si Paul. Nag-divide. Parang simbahan din ngayon, di ba? Marami pong iiwalay. It's normal, it's happening. But, late in Paul's life, he was ministering with Paul again. Bumalik na siya sa Christ in you. Di ba? Bumalik na siya. And Paul considered Mark useful for service na. Nag-restore na po siya.
Useful for service.
What's the reason for the abandonment?
According to the Gospel of to the book of Acts, because of irreconcilable differences and the immaturity of Mark. He was immature at that time. I advise that you read the Gospel of Acts. Makikita nyo doon yung progression po nila. We will elaborate that in our study of Acts. So makikita nyo. Pero siguro yung Gospel of Acts, baka two discussions, two classes na. Para makita natin yung history ng church. Thank you for that question today. Now, so makikita natin yung story ni Mark. Hindi ba parang pareho sa panahon natin ngayon? Pero tingnan nyo, yung pasaway na Mark, ginamit pa ni Lord para magsulat ng gospel. Look at the grace of God. So wala po tayong pwedeng sabihin na, ayan, pasaway yun, wala nang mangyari. Mga kapatid ko, kahit po yung mga pinakapasaway, pwedeng gamitin ng Panginoon.
Amen.
Amen? Key verse. Sorry, last 15 minutes. Who is Mark? Who was Mark? Wala na po dito, no? Bukal lang po yan. This is just, wala po ito sa handout, ha? Mark got an F at a wealthy home. Pinanayas siya. That's why he left. That's all. He went with the disciples. He got an F. Bagsak siya. Noong panahon na si Jesus ay kukulong na. He got an F. Bagsak siya. Yung mas, kagaya na ngayon, may mga 3 ngayon, di ba? He got an F on first mission trip with Paul. Bagsak pa rin siya. He got an F on team unity because he was immature at that time. He got an F when he wrote, but he got an A when he wrote the gospel under Peter at Rome. So, bagsak man siya sa maraming ibang mga bagay, pero siya ang ginamit ni Lord to write the gospel. That's amazing grace. So, tayo po, ano man po ang nangyari kanina, huwag niyo pong isipin niya. Pwede ba maging A yan? 73 po. Ito po ito, alam po ninyo, sa seminary, marami po nag-summa cum laude sa batch po namin, magna cum laude. Ako po, wala po talaga akong awards. Ang award ko lang po talaga, best in recess. So, as a business po, it is not dependent on your cum laude. Pero importante po ang cum laude, ha? Pero, totoo po ito, lahat na nag-cum laude po sa batch namin, wala po sa ministry ngayon. That's the reality. Kami yung mga bagsak at yung namumopia sa seminary. Nagpapastor po ngayon. Kaya kung namopia ko ngayon, baka sabihin mo. Kaya na, baka na nasiron sa'yo. Nagpapastor ka, baka ka.
May confirmation mas.
The key verse is, okay, now is useful for ministry. May saysay. Siya'y kagamit-gamit sa ministry. That's the beauty of the life of Mark. Yes. Now, key verse. Mark 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Mark was written between AD 50 70. Most likely around the time of Peter's death. Bago mamatay si Pedro. Strategically written in draft form before Peter's death. Then it was distributed to the Roman Church after his martyrdom in AD 64 to 68. Actually, originally we're part of the Roman Catholic Church. We are part of the Roman Church. Pero po, sa Church History po, i-share na po rin in the next few subjects. Nagkaroon tayo ng division from Roman Catholicism. By the way, the word Catholicism means universal. Nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag na Greek Orthodox Church. So, nag-divide ulit po. Nanggaling tayo ngayon sa Greek Orthodox Church, which is nanggaling po sa Roman Catholic Church. Then yung Greek Orthodox Church, nag-divide na naman. Nag-divide. Okay, so, hindi ko po sinasabi na okay mag-divide. Pero ginamit nila yung division noon to produce churches now. So, yan po yung biyaya ng Diyos sa panahon po noon hanggang ngayon. Now, okay, that's the date of writing. The audience, sino ba ang dapat makinig? The audience, pero bago yun, dito makikita natin, si Pedro, hindi siya dumating sa Rome until AD 63. So, hindi pwedeng masulat ang Gospel of Mark sa AD 63. While Mark does not mention the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. So, possibly, dito makikita yung nasulat yung Gospel of Mark between AD 64 and AD 68. We cannot say like the specific date. Pero, yan yung pinaka possible date na nasulat po. Wala yan sa handout po natin. Pero, that's just a overview of what we have done. The audience, sinong inabusan na? The Romans or Gentiles. Tayo. They have no knowledge of the Old Testament or Jewish culture. Therefore, they don't have interest in prophecies fulfilled or Messiahs given. Kaya wala siyang fulfillment lagi. Straight to the point. Si Jesus ginawa to. Jesus went here. Jesus did this. Kasi wala namang pakalan ng mga Gentiles sa, okay, it was fulfilled prophecy. Wala pakalan ng mga Gentiles doon. They would, however, be interested in a leader claiming special authority and seeing to have supernatural power. Kaya, makikita mo doon, Jesus cast it out, Jesus did this, Jesus did that, pinalayas niya. Yun ang interest ng mga Romans ng panahon noon. No genealogies, wala silang pakialam. No prophecies, sino naniniwala sa mga Gentiles? Few words, pansinin nyo, Gospel of Mark, but just a man of power, actions, and miracles. A man the Romans could admire and understand. So yan yung purpose kung bakit nasulat yung Gospel of Mark. Walang keme-keme, straight to the point. That's the Gospel of Mark. The theme of the Gospel of this book is Jesus as Christ, the Son of God, the suffering servant. Kaya hindi po apelido ang Christ. Jesus Christ. Hindi po apelido niya Christ. Jesus the Christ or the Messiah. Kaya huwag baka sabihin nyo, anong apelido ni Jesus? Christ. Hindi po yun. He is the suffering servant. The purpose of the book, 3 purposes. Okay na po ba tayo?
Yes.
Yes.
The first purpose is that the Roman Christians were persecuted under Nero at that time. Kasi nga, AD 64 hanggang 68, panahon ni Nero. According to the early 2nd century historian Tacitus, Nero burned Christians alive. So, yan pala yung purpose kung bakit sinulat ni Mark. Yung gospel niya, to encourage them. Mark's gospel would strengthen Roman believers in the midst of persecution by showing how Jesus persevered in the face of opposition and continued in the will of the Father on the road to the cross. He finished his course. That is why sa mga believers, Roman believers, you finish your course. Kaya sinulat yun, tapusin nyo ang inyong tapuhin. Mark's gospel encourages believers as they see the suffering servant triumphant over them. So, when Jesus was crucified, He resurrected again. Yan yung pinaka-purpose of the book, to encourage the disciples, to encourage the Gentile believers. That's the purpose of the book. Outline. And we will now close with the outline. Paano ba nasimula? Okay? Sorry, wala rin pa ito. So the purpose of the book, in summary, is biographical, si Jesus, evangelistic in form, liturgical, instructional, apologetic, hindi yung apologize ha. Apologetic means defense of the faith. Yung gagawin niyo mamaya, yung mga susupport sa Bible, you are apologizing. Or you are practicing apologetics. Hindi ka humingi ng tawad ha. In summary, the purpose of the book is pastoral. He is trying to encourage the members na mapatuloy po sila sa kanilang pananampalataya. Why? Ano bang gagawin mo, kapatid? What would you do if you are a church leader at that time? If your congregation was under persecution? Some were being fed to the lions. Siyempre, ang gagawin mo, Mark wrote this. Mark wrote the suffering of Jesus to encourage the people. Parang sinasabi ni Mark, sa mga nangyayari ngayon, si Jesus pumunta, papatungo sa Golgotha para magpapako sa krus, para ipako siya. He finished his suffering. Kaya si Jesus, He is suffering with you. Kaya niya sinulat po ni Mark yan to encourage those who are being persecuted. Yan ang pinaka-purpose niya. Kaya when you preach the Gospel of Mark, or a portion of it, babalik at babalik yan sa suffering servant. Sa suffering ni Jesus. That is the core teaching of the Gospel of Mark. Okay. Please have it pictured na lang. We don't have much time. Sorry, overtime ko ako. Please, wala ko sa handout. Next. Covenant in Mark. Jesus is the fulfillment. I will send the PowerPoint. Okay. Redemption, salvation in Mark. Jesus in Mark. The paradox of authority of servanthood. Jesus as the Messiah and the servant, suffering servant. Synthesis. Ito makikita natin yung pinaka-main outline. 1 to 13, He came. 1 to 14, He was in opposition with the demons, governments. He sacrificed Himself in chapters 11 to 15, and He was resurrected in chapter 16. That's the synthesis of the chapter. Now, offline. Sorry, para makapag-ibig po kayo. John introduces the servant. Chapter 1, verse 1 to 8. God the Father identifies the servant. Chapter 1, 9 to 11. While the temptation initiates the servant. Chapter 1, 12 to 13. And the temptation initiates, ulit lang po yan. While word and works illuminates, number 4, that's illuminates the servant. Initiate, illuminates. That's number 4. Work and words illuminates the servant. That's a 4-point sermon. You can preach on that next Sunday. Okay? Illuminates. Yung gawa ni Kristo, pinapakita kung sino talaga si Kristo. He is a servant. May mga miracles, healing, natural, demonic, resurrection of the dead. Okay? At merong mga parables and teachings.
Illuminates.
Teachings. Parables and teachings. And then yung mga fasting, bridegroom, master seed, and, man on trip. Yan, meron lahat. Parables and teachings.
So, candle and basket. Then, nandun yung mga teachings. Nandun yung death of Christ, mark of greatness, letter K, rebuke of sectarianism, hell, marriage, riches, prayer, authority of Jesus, access, resurrection, Messiah, Olivet Discourse. Yan yung pinaka-teachings ni Jesus dyan sa Gospel of Mark. Okay? Incidents when he calls the disciples, death of John the Baptist, transfiguration, rich young ruler, ambition of the John, triumphant entry, fig tree, made widow's mite. And last but not least, the death, burial, and resurrection ensures the servant. So yan yung summary ng book of Mark. That's the summary of the book of Mark. Now as we close, let me remind you what the story of Mark is. Sino ba si Mark? He got an F at a wealthy home. He got an F. Nung Jesus po ay naresto, bagsak rin siya sa first mission trip niya with Paul, sa unity ng ministry nila, but he was used by God to write the gospel of God. Application, tayo rin. Ano man ang ating mga pagkakamali sa buhay, malaki man ito, maliit, bagsak man tayo, kanina. God can still use us by grace. Whatever mess we are right now. Amen? Thank you po. You can now take your break po and meet together para sa inyo po.
Nahihirapan ako sa iyo.
Pag-ibig. Balik tayo.
Ito pala yung bibigay ko sila pa. Sir, balik sila pa.